in the studio. Thanks so much for coming in. I mean, how serious an incident is this? Of course, Israel is going to deny having had anything to do with this, but will Russia take action off the back of that plane coming down?
Well, Andrea, it's very complicated. Of course, Israel never claimed any responsibility of any of its attacks in the Syrian land, but generally they're attacking the Iranian hardware, military hardware in different places. According to many reports, in the last 18 months, the Israeli air forces attacked or targeted Syria for more than 200 times, and they never confirm any responsibility. Now, for this time, according to the Defense Ministry of Russia, it was a provocative, irresponsible, hostile action. These are strong words coming from Moscow, and they're saying that they're going to retaliate. But what kind of retaliation? I don't think that they're interested in in kind of military retaliation against Israel, because this is going to lead to a major escalation on the ground. That's something that Russia is not interested in having.
Especially when it looks like Russia and Syria are getting very close to the exact point they wanted to be at over the duration of this war. So let's look at IDLIB now. The agreement that was reached between Presidents Putin and Erdogan yesterday, does it guarantee that the humanitarian crisis so many feared in IDLIB will not happen?
Well, it's good news for anybody, but you should be cautiously optimistic, because it depends on the rebels on the ground. You don't have one homogeneous entity of rebels. They're different, ranging from extremists, formerly known as Al-Qaeda, designated by even Turkey as a terrorist organization known as Jabhat al-Nusra, to other rebel groups. So it's a kind of a black box that you don't know whether they're going to back down. It's the 15th of October, the deadline. The other thing is, if these hawkish wings in the rebels on the ground agree on the agreement, are they going to evacuate this province, and where to go? Because there are no other provinces for the rebel groups. And on the other hand, this kind of buffer zone or demilitarized zone, they're speaking about 15 to 20 kilometers. Where exactly, and whether Turkey does have the momentum, the leverage on these groups to let them evacuate all the heavy artillery, the heavy arsenal they have in these regions. So it's so complicated, it's not so clear so far. But for Turkey, it's very clear that Turkey is going to avert any kind of major escalation or any major military offensive in this region, because it will lead to more influx of refugees. It will lead to real, what President Erdogan called a humanitarian massacre of 3 million people in Idlib.
Okay. If, though, it goes according to the plan thus far, and those terrorist and militant groups are separated out, and however the process goes after that, I'm not sure, but if they are separated out, what happens to IDLIB?
Well, first, how they're going to separate these kind of radically minded rebels. That's one of the challenges they're going to answer. Neither President Erdogan nor Putin did answer this question. And the other thing is whether these rebel groups are going to agree, because what we've been following on social media, on their media outlets, they still believe in jihad against the Russians and the regime. They're not going to back down. It's not very clear. Now, the people in Idlib, they're welcoming what Turkey is doing, and they're thanking President Erdogan and Turkey, trying to avert a major escalation, because they've seen the scenario of Aleppo, the scenario of Eastern Ghouta, Der'a, and they're afraid that this is going to lead to, like blood everywhere, and they're fed up of this. Now, it depends on the rebel groups. I don't think that certain parts of it, especially Jabhat al-Nusra or Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, they're not going to back down, though there will be major pressure from the Turkish side, as well as the incubator. The people on in Idlib itself are going to take to the street, protesting against any retaliation from the rebels. But on the other hand, they don't want Assad regime to get into Idlib, because this is going to lead to more crises.
Right, and therein lies the biggest problem, I would dare say. Ahmed, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Now, we were